Well, the U.S. dollar continues its downward trajectory, artificially held up right now by all of this fake money. So there are people out there like, the dollar is fine, while the underlying fundamentals are absolutely collapsing. Just look at Italy over the past few days, announcing its intention to want to join and settle transactions using the Russian ruble in the BRICS nations, wanting to move away from the U.S. dollar. They now are added to a list of other countries who are trying to move away quickly from the U.S. dollar to settle transactions. They see the writing on the wall. For all of this and more, we wanted to bring in the CEO of Lear Capital, Kevin DeMeritt, who follows this very, very closely, obviously knee-deep in the precious metals space, seeing what's happening with gold and silver and watching this destruction of the U.S. dollar. Kevin, great to see you. Welcome back to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me back on, Clayton.
So I want to talk about this expansion of BRICS first, because I think there's this total cognitive dissonance in the United States. Really, the mainstream media is ignoring this story. But here you have major U.S. allies in Europe now saying, U.S. dollar, the time has come and gone. What do you say about this?
Well, I think they're right. You know, a lot of these countries are saying that the U.S. government has weaponized the U.S. dollar against Russia and, with war and political reasons. And they don't want to be stuck in the same situation. They're looking for something that has value, that isn't getting printed left, right, and center. And this BRICS currency has a lot of implications that could absolutely crush the dollar. And I'm going to say one thing. If this happens, it will be the biggest wealth transfer from nation to another nation I think we've ever seen in the history of the world.
Wow. And how do you mean in terms of by moving away from, well, I've heard it in terms of oil transactions, right? So if we take away the amount of oil settled in U.S. dollars, it is an absolute kneecapping of the U.S. economy. And where the wealth then flows is, of course, into Asia, it's into Russia, it's into the Middle East, and away from the U.S. dollar. Is that how you see it transferring?
No, when I first got into this business, I was in international banking. So trade is a big part of how a currency gets valued. So think about this for a second. The BRICS countries want to back this currency, the BRICS currency, by gold, some portion of gold. So let's just say for a second that we're going to trade with the United States and these other countries with just gold. To make a point here, we're just going to use gold. The United States last year had a $960 billion trade deficit. So if we were using gold, we would be $1 trillion less gold in the United States and $1 trillion worth of gold in those other countries, which is exactly what's going to happen if you use this BRICS currency. It's backed by gold. I need to buy the BRICS currency. I need to then give more of the BRICS currency, which is backed by gold, to those countries. They've accumulated gold, and we've lost basically $1 trillion worth of gold. That wealth transfer is the greatest, scheme that these nations could have ever thought of. And think about it, Russia, China, and India, they absolutely love gold. They would love to be able to transfer and use this as an economic unit of transfer, because they're just accumulating the gold and we're losing ours. Brilliant idea, and it crushes the US dollar. Now think about this for a second. It's backed by gold, meaning that if I issue more of that currency, I've got to back more of it by more gold, which pushes the gold price up, which pushes that currency up, and our paper dollar is going to look like crap, and the whole value just absolutely goes away. We will get repatriated back trillions of dollars of US currency back to the United States, and inflation will go through the roof.
Wow.
It's absolutely brilliant.
I hadn't thought of it in those terms before. And you're right, the repatriation. So as China wants to get rid of the greenbacks, saying, here we are, we're turning in these U.S. Treasury bonds, we're getting rid of this. All of these countries are getting rid of it, and it's coming back to the United States. And we're sitting there saying, well, this currency is not backed by gold. It's backed by debt. The United States, what is it backed by in the United States? And so now we're sitting on all of this fake paper money, all of this artificially created cash in the United States that's not backed by gold. And then in many ways it becomes worthless. What will it be backed by in the United States? I mean, am I missing something?
No, this ploy by the BRICS countries is absolutely fantastic. We're going to take your gold, we're going to take something of value, and we're going to send you toys and cars and everything that depreciates, and we're going to grab all the real wealth, right? The tangible asset, we're going to grab that wealth. But if you take it one step further, I believe that the US government sees this coming, and we better get to a digital currency where we can start manipulating values much easier than we can with the paper side of it. So I think this is just one step closer to, hey, we need to be able to do something with this worthless currency. Let's take away a zero. I mean, countries around the world have done it for years and years and years. So if it gets too bad, a digital currency would be a way to do it easy, where paper, not so much.
No, that's brilliant, and that's what we're moving to. And guys, watching this right now, what Kevin is saying is absolutely spot on. So the reason the Fed is moving towards a digital bank central currency, and they've been doing this slowly, we just heard the details here about how this is going to be rolled out from the banking sector, right? And it was a slow roll. They've been planning this since 2015. Right, we're going to shift over to the central bank digital currency. Everything will be digital. We'll provide perhaps a universal basic income, but we will track everything you do. It will be Fed backed. It will not be from the banks. It'll be Fed backed, an unelected group that's going to be providing you with money. It'll be artificial. It'll be digital. It will not be tied to gold. We can print it as much as we want. We can create as many zeros as we want because it's all fake. And it's all controlled by the Fed. And that's exactly what we're moving towards.
That's right. It's the perfect thing to do if you believe that the US dollar is going to take a hit by, these countries that want to back, this by gold. And here's what I look for, Clayton, when I invest are tipping points. Where's a tipping point that takes you from one thing to the next? The dot-com happened in 2000, and then it took another 10 years before the internet really took off. What's happening here with this currency? You're not talking about a country like Tanzania. You're talking about countries that have 3.3 billion people. You've got those 5 countries, India, China, Russia, Brazil, South Africa, 3.3 billion people, 40% of the entire population of the world, and they want to move to this currency. You're getting close to 50% as a tipping point when you start adding in all the other countries like Italy and the European countries that you brought up. You hit 50% of the people that says, I'm done with the US dollar. There's your tipping point. And you better understand what's going to happen when that happens. When you're no longer the international reserve currency, you're investing, commodities become much more tough to track, and things can get expensive. Inflation in other countries goes through the roof when you don't have that status.
Well, you guys, of course, deal in silver and gold on a regular basis. This is your... but you're also a big fan of real estate, tangible assets. You and I are both on the same page with that. Like, we invest in real estate, we invest in gold, and we invest in silver. Natalie and I are big believers in all three of those things. When you see, we see the demand right now, silver pushing up, I think is over 25 right now, $25. So there's increasing demand. We have, I think we had Bank of America with a price target for gold of like $2,500 an ounce. We're at like $1,900 an ounce. Oh, 3,000. Yeah, 3,000. That's right. Yeah. I was saying 25. Yeah. $3,000 an ounce. So where do you see things happening right now with the supply of gold and silver and the demand for tangible assets like that?
To me right now, silver is absolutely on sale. Hard to get in big quantities. 2-3 years ago, we could get larger quantities, but since the pandemic, the silver supply has really kind of gone down. And there's a couple of reasons. To me, silver is the best double play investment, that I can find. And what I mean by that is that in a good economy, the silver being used in solar, which is just absolutely skyrocketing. We had about 5% of the silver supply being used in solar in 2015. We're up to 15%, and looks like it's going to go even higher. You have silver in water treatment plants, so solar, water treatment plants, medicine, and all the other industrial applications. So if the economy does well, and we're wrong, then silver demand should still go through the roof, and silver looks inexpensive at $25 an ounce. But if we start having these situations that we're talking about with the dollar, the economy goes into a recession, we already know silver can go to $49 or $50 an ounce, because that's exactly what it did in 2008. So to me, it's just a great investment for a portion of someone's portfolio that can play both sides of the economy at this particular point. There's just not that many investments out there like that.
Yeah, I agree. That's why I'm such a big fan of it, and that's why Natalie and I just made a big purchase of silver a few weeks ago. So absolutely a big play. I know it's going to be really interesting to see what happens with these BRICS nations. How many more start coming forward here and realizing the writing's on the wall? Especially after the United States blows up your pipeline. It cuts off your energy supply. They've got some rotten friends. Let's just say that the schoolyard bully is not looking so hot right now. We'll keep our eye on that. Kevin, you guys set up something special for our Redacted audience, didn't you? To be able, like, if someone wants to buy gold and silver right now, you mentioned it to me before, and I would love to hear about it.
Yeah, I love your program because it's all about education, and we want to try to help educate people with information so they can make the right decisions. So we've got a first-time investor guide that we're going to send out. We've got a report on the dollar called Canceled that's going to go through the digital situation with the Fed coin. It's going to go through the BRICS nation and what the potential things that can happen there and how to protect yourself. We've also got the silver report that will kind of go over some of the things that I was talking about. But for your program, we wanted to do something special because I love the education that you're giving. We're going to give everyone who calls or goes to the URL, learredacted.com, a $250 credit in their account. All you need to do is fill out the information or call. We're going to put $250 in your account to use for the shipping, or if you wanted to transfer an IRA, you can use it for all of those fees, and it's completely free. So
awesome.
When people call, make sure they call on the 800 number specifically for your program or go to your URL. And we'll add the $250 automatically to everybody's account.
Awesome. Well, thank you for that. That's a nice gift. We'll put that in the description below. So if anyone wants to take advantage of that and put some silver, put some gold in their portfolio right now and away from the US dollar, they can do that. Kevin, great seeing you. Thank you for your insight on this. And we'll be watching what happens with the BRICS nations and the value of these precious metals over the next couple months as we head into the rest of this year. Thanks so much, Kevin.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.